It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day, I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Can Crushers. Happy Can Crusher Day.
That was so creepy.
Some sensual, and then we went right into Can Crusher Day.
The sensual is what creeped me out more than anything.
You went from 6 to noon in literally seconds.
Welcome to Can Crushers. First of all, we're back in studio after 3 weeks.
Finally, nobody's on vacation. Nobody's got football. Nobody's got this or that. We're here to entertain.
It's literally been a month since we've sat at the table doing this.
The round table. And guess what, Mark? I got us some Fat Heads bubbling.
These are amazing. We love them. We started with Rolling Rock a year ago.
Yes, we did.
We have had this one, but it has been one of our favorite ones.
Right. And sometimes we just go back to the old well because it's never dry around us.
It's never dry. Hey. 1 freaking year.
1 year in. 2 average, everyday garbage men drinking beer and talking wrestling.
Talking lots of wrestling.
Who would have thought that we'd have lasted 365 days? 52 weeks.
And over, 93 episodes.
Right.
So, that would be 94.
And we've gone away. Well, we're still on Raw and SmackDown, but we're now with OVW. We have Imagine.
We have
IWC.
Asylum when it kicks back. Rise. Just reached out to Rise at Lamont Furnace.
Right.
We're doing a lot of charitable events like we did the Sean Phoenix one. We're going to do Stop Out Cancer Part 3 in August. That one means big to me, and we'll get into that. That's its own show when we get there.
Right.
But just to let you know.
All this stuff coming up, and we're in the thick of things.
The OVW Combine. Tell me that wasn't one of the biggest things we did.
Oh, man, I'm so pumped for you that you went to that and got to see everything, and I'm sure it was awesome. And you being invited to that, well, both of us being invited was an honor. But you going and just showing what Can Crushers is all about. You did the interviews. I mean, I'm sure you're still probably on cloud 9 from that.
I am. And it's now knowledgeable. Now can we tell everybody Can Crushers will be going back down for the draft as well.
Yeah!
So on August 3rd, the draft is up, and Can Crushers will be down there covering that. So that's a big thing. Let's talk about some of the interviews. I mean, this is what this first segment's going to be about, and then we'll touch on Raw and SmackDown. But some big interviews, too. It started with Al Snow.
Right, and that was just from what you said about when you sat down with the training and just listening to him talk, he's so emotional and so passionate about wrestling, and that's somebody that you'd want to learn from. You know what I mean? That's somebody that you need to learn from.
Right. I was talking about Spotlight interviews to kind of reminisce those.
My bad.
But you're right. The Al Snow interview that I sat down with was unbelievable. Go back and listen to it on the Combine. But I'm saying just the people that we interviewed throughout this year.
Yeah.
Al Snow, Barry Horowitz, Manny Fernandez, the whole OVW roster, and I still have more coming. Season 2 started with the Plumbers, kind of like a golden goose that we've been chasing for a year.
Which isn't a wrestler, but you got to give the promoters some creds too, and I know we've had Crazy Shay on the show and he's a promoter and wrestler, but he's both.
Right.
Jake the Snake, Justin Plummer.
What's his wife's name?
Oh man. Yeah, no. Why you gonna put me on the spot like this?
Sorry, Jenny.
You've told
Jenny,
me. You've told me
867-5309. It's her number.
Sorry, Jenny.
So we've had Kato on from Imagine. I mean, it has just become a pretty freaking awesome year. Mickey's still here. Still allowed in the studio after a year.
Killing stuffed animals right now. Got a brand new toy, just showing it off, growling, grumbling. E-Dog taking our pictures. Kelly sitting on the chair laughing at us because we're both idiots. It's been a hell of a year, and I can't wait to see where we go from here.
It's going to be more indie heavy.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I love that because Raw and SmackDown have sucked so bad lately. So now and I don't know if you can call AEW indie.
No, I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't.
Right. So, I mean, there's that.
And then we're going to start covering MLW next week. Chad's really, not Chad Miller, Chad Perrin is really big on watching that. So I need to get caught up on some of the stuff. So he's going to get thrown into the mix, a 10-minute thing every year, pre-recorded, thrown in. It's going to be covering a landscape or a landslide or whatever of wrestling.
A plethora?
Yeah, but we always use plethora. I'm trying to sound smarter after a year, and it's not working.
We've only started with the English lessons
a couple months ago, and they have not helped at all. None.
Zero.
He could be in studio, and they're just not doing shit for us.
Nothing for us.
I know they're all directed at me. This week's, I kind of got lost. I don't know when I said any of it, so I'm not going to let it go. I'm like, wait, what is he talking? I don't even know what the hell that word is. What? So.
And Leonard Skinner said it best for me. Lord, I was born a rambling man.
You are. You are.
So where are we at? What are we doing? We have a new.
We have a new tournament, and some people are taking it the wrong way. This guy next to me.
Yeah.
It is called Stand By Your Man.
So it's a woman manager, basically.
Yeah, but that's not what you posted last night on Facebook.
Well, but if you think about it, she is a woman manager.
Well, they both are. We're talking about Golden Gloves, which we call Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. So they're both women managers.
Basically.
To each other.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't make the tournament because they have just really come together recently. They're
best friends.
They are best friends. This is like a longevity thing. It really is. Shut up, you're an asshole. This is a longevity thing that we have going on. I mean, we have the likes of Lana helping out Rusev. We have Mella with R-Truth. We have Liz and Macho Man. We have Woman with Flair. We have,
I don't remember Woman. That must have been before my time.
We didn't put her with Benoit because Benoit, okay. But she was with Flair. Okay. So we kind of keep that off the record a little bit because we're one of those podcasts that we don't want to truck down that line. No. We still never do, and we won't.
Occasionally
we truck enough.
We tiptoe on lines, but we're not trucking over lines.
We truck enough with some of the stuff we do. So, we're setting up the first round. First round's going to start Friday. The English professor is getting his jollies off by writing everything for us, so he will continue. So that's where we're going to go with this little bit of segment. 16 women in it. They're all written down on a piece of paper. You know how we do it. Paul's going to draw first, and we're going to have the first match.
Whew. I don't know if I can read with this glare because you took your hat off your head.
You're an asshole.
Yeah! Vicky is the first one. Vicky Guerrero?
Vicky Guerrero with her husband, Eddie.
Well, yeah.
And she's going to be taking on Lana.
Lana from Rusev Day!
That's the main reason why Lana's in this, Cheryl, so you're welcome.
Who I got? Brie. Brie who?
Brie Bella with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, they're married, and they're not really a couple. I mean, she's not really a manager.
All right, well then Brandy Rhodes.
Okay.
With Cody.
Well, that's different. She is a manager.
She is a manager. No, she does. She wrestles.
You wrestle.
I do wrestle.
Precious.
Against Kimberly Page. DDP's wife. Remember that?
Nope.
No. Again, way too early.
What about, is Booker T's wife in here?
Charmel?
Yeah.
No.
Liz is in here.
Right.
That's probably Miss Elizabeth.
It is Miss Elizabeth. And she's going to be taking on Beulah McGillicuddy.
I have no idea.
Spell Beulah, Paul.
Yeah.
Spell it.
Beulah.
Okay, so that's the way that's going to look. Johnny Moxcillin is not in this.
Steph. I'm guessing that's Triple H's wife.
And she's going to take on Francine. That's with Shane Douglas. Everybody's across the board. We got ECW, AEW.
Well, there was 2 of them. Baby Doll.
You know who Baby Doll is?
No idea.
With Tully Blanchard. Again, way too early.
Way too early, bud.
Against China. So if you look at it, Trips is in this twice.
Sapphire.
Came out with Dusty Rhodes. Still nothing. She's going to take on Mella.
And Mella's money. Last 2, bud.
There's 2 left.
Woman.
And she's going to take on Maurice.
Maurice.
You know who Maurice is?
Yeah.
Who's Maurice?
Mrs. Wife.
All right. There you go. You got him.
Oh, my God. Wait till you see how I spell Maurice.
I'm clearly going to have to rewrite
It's Marise.
Marise.
And I, as I wrote it, I'm like, that's wrong. Whew. Yep.
Nothing.
No, I'm not allowed to talk. I don't see Charmel on here.
It was
I don't see Brooke Hogan on here.
It was rough to get to 32. We don't want to do the 24 because the 3-way thing just does not work for our Facebook.
Mark hates 3-ways, especially with chicks.
Yeah. Wow. Going downhill the wrong way. Thank God this is episode 2 of season 2.
Yeah.
I don't hate 3-ways. It's so hard on the
I can't do
Facebook.
it on the face space.
It doesn't work on our page. We've said this before.
Boo.
We tried it. So we trimmed it down to 16. This is what you got. We have another one already in the hopper. So we're just working on these. We're getting this. We're going.
This is kind of just like a throw your pants in the wind kind of thing.
This one is? Yeah, this one really is. This was all the English professor.
There's nothing big going on right now, so we got to make our fun some way.
We got to get something going because Stomping Ground looks like shit. Whatever road to Saudi Arabia we can cover.
Are we going to cover G1?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are we?
Johnny Moxicillin wants to be in it.
Are you going to watch it?
I'm going to try.
What else are you going to watch?
I don't know.
Are you going to watch Super Indie this weekend?
Of course, because they're going to live stream it on the face. No, I don't know how they're going to live stream it.
It's an iPay-per-view.
You have
to go to their website and everything. You can download it. It's $14.99.
And if I would go there, I would pay $25, not to mention the $50 in beer. Who we shitting? The $100 in beer.
Yeah, who you shitting? For sure.
The $100 in beer and the $50 in food. So that's saving me probably no money because I probably still drink $100 of beer and need $50 worth of food, but I'll watch it.
You can pass out at home.
Yeah.
Compared to in the juke.
Well, I like
because
sleeping.
you like sleeping in the
juke.
The juke
is so comfortable. It's so roomy in there.
Right? You slept a day or two in there and it was rough. Rough. So we have that going on. We're going to be at Super Indie. You have anything? I mean, we haven't talked in 3 weeks.
Nope. I retired officially from football this past weekend.
And boy, does he need to. I'm glad he did. I'm going to jump on the T bandwagon here with her as you're pretty haggard.
Got some bruised ribs, got some broken fingers, and got a sprained wrist.
But you're going to play in the All-Star game.
Yep, I have to.
When is it?
June 29th.
Oh.
So...
We'll get that at the end of the show, what's happening then.
Yeah.
Good job.
Nailed it.
Good job.
I suck.
You do. Guess what's coming up?
What else is coming up? OVW report?
Now.
Yeah.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. Guys, I want to introduce you to one of the biggest OVW fans I know. I met him while I was down doing the whole Combine week, and he's got his own podcast. You guys should check it out as well. We'll get into about his podcast at the tail end of this because we're going to talk OVW right now. Guys, welcome to the show, Ryan Mosley. Ryan, how the hell you doing?
Who invited you?
Doing great, Mark. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. It's been a few weeks since we've seen each other. Still keeping in contact, but how about OVW? Getting a little crazy recently, isn't it?
Yes, it's getting pretty hot. Very interesting. Going into this Fort Knox, so coming up this week actually.
Yeah, I am not going. Are you making the trek down to Fort Knox?
I really want to. I'm hoping to make the trip down there. Actually, yeah.
Good, because if you go, we'll definitely have to have you on next week to talk about the whole thing. We can talk about that later, but let's kind of talk about last week's show and how it just elevated me wanting to drive to Fort Knox to see this. I mean, it started with Meg just telling Callie she's going to put her foot up her ass and keep her title, right?
Yes, and I don't think Callie seemed too happy hearing that, actually. It's going to be very interesting to see what goes down with those two in that match.
Yeah, there was a clip about Callie just beating her head off of a trailer or something because she's like, nobody puts a foot up there. Nobody puts a foot up there. Like, Callie's really worried.
Oh, yes, and she should be. You know, she definitely should be. Meg is definitely not no one to mess with. So I really feel sorry for Callie going into this match.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Callie has any tricks up her sleeves for this one. One of the big matches that I'm looking forward to is kind of a return match, but it's an open challenge where King's Ransom, the OVW Tag Team Champions, are going to take on the War Kings, the former champions. What do you know about this feud?
The King's Ransom being the Southern Tag Team Champions, they got a lot to lose going into this match, and the War Kings have a lot to gain. I believe they're, 2-time or 3-time Southern Tag Team Champions?
I believe there's 3.
War Kings?
I believe there's 3.
So they definitely are in for a fight, the King's Ransom is.
Yeah, and the War Kings will do just about anything. They're pretty dastardly. They're not really a fan favorite. They'll cheat to win, as Eddie Guerrero used to say, right?
Yes, that's definitely right. Yes.
So both of them being linked to the military, this is a huge boost to the War Kings. So it's kind of home field advantage for them going back to Fort Knox, right?
It is, especially Crimson there. He has that war background history, and so it is definitely going to be a home field advantage.
So the TV title is also getting a little bit crazy. Like Randall Floyd, I don't know if he's going to be able to defend. His knee's really dinged up after Drew Hernandez. I don't know if it's slotted to be a match on the card, but you would think Floyd wants to prove something.
Oh, yes. I believe so, too. And he has a lot, as we've seen on this past week's episode. We've seen a lot of people are gunning for that title. And so he's a marked man in OVW.
So who do you think is truly like the number one contender for this TV title? Do you think it's Drew? Do you think it's Mr. Marvelous, who kind of no-showed last week's TV taping?
I'm going to have to go Drew. He had a pretty impressive run going there during his reign as champion. But then you have Mr. Marvelous is, I'd say with that Battle Royal win, he definitely has a shot, for sure.
Yeah, Drew made a statement, not a mark. I'm Mark. You're Ryan. Nonetheless, this is Can Crushers. He made a statement last week that he's been in the most gauntlet matches since Dean Hill started this gauntlet. I think it's 19 out of 23 now. So he makes a point of being, the stud of the gauntlet matches.
He does. That is for sure. Yes.
Jay Bradley and Dustin Jackson, and this is kind of where I want to pause because this match has implications across the board for everything, meaning the main event at Fort Knox. You're going to have Jay Bradley and Justin Smooth against Michael Hayes and Dustin Jackson in a tag team match, but Dustin Jackson's number one contender. Now Lily looks like she's going to be on the shelf because she took a street justice. What's going on there?
Dustin, I believe he really has a chance to get that advantage going into the title match with Justin Smooth whenever that pans out. So I believe he has a lot to get an advantage right there and with picking up a win in that match. And then I believe also, this is Michael Hayes. He's going back to Fort Knox, where he was, in the military right there. That's where he got his start, actually. So he's going home. So this is going to be a home field advantage for him, I believe.
Yeah, you read my mind saying that this is literally Michael Hayes' home. He's trained there. He's been there. Everything about his life has literally revolved around Fort Knox. I mean, it's tag team match getting set up, but I would think, say Justin Smooth gets pinned by Michael Hayes, does that jump him over Dustin Jackson as number one contender again?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say probably, but Dustin has that number one contender spot. If you're the number one contender, how are you going to get that taken away from you?
Right, but that could just make it another three-way. Or then you have Jay Bradley, who just is still trying to find me, collect my insurance money with my wife by knocking me off. So, I mean...
Jay, he's definitely a viable contender, too, so why not make it a fatal four-way?
Right? I mean, who knows what's going to happen coming out of... it's 2 days, more or less, when this is going to happen, Friday. Are you going to the TV taping tonight?
Yes, I will be there.
Good. So we'll be able to call back again and chat in case. I have a lot going on. I don't know if I'll be able to watch OVW this weekend, so I'll definitely need a report again if you're up for it next week.
For sure, definitely.
All right, Ryan, this is your time to shine. Let everybody know where they can find you and give us a little statement about your podcast and what's going on your show.
You can find us at facebook.com/The Final Count KY. You can also find us on YouTube. We don't actually have a link yet, but you can find us on YouTube by just typing in the search bar, The Final Count KY, and then on Twitter at The Final Count KY. We're just doing interviews on the show, and we're looking for anyone that's interested, on coming on the show. We are just set up a email account for the show today, which is the Final Count Podcast 27@gmail.com. If you're interested in being booked on the show. And, that's pretty much it.
Give us some of your past, because you actually have a pretty good list of interviewees. So give us a list of some of the people that, you can go back and listen to some of your older episodes, who you've chatted with.
Oh, yes. Our first interview was actually with OVW superstar Big Zoe. We've had guests like, Justin Smooth, the current OVW heavyweight champion. We've had some notable names like former TNA Impact Wrestling star Chase Stevens, the natural Chase Stevens, former WWE star Kalen Croft, former WWE and OVW, current OVW Anarchy champion Finn Bodie. We've had Mike Knox on the show. We've had numerous stars, that have been in WWE and in OVW as well, including a few referees.
And just today, I noticed that you released your Combine show that we kind of not worked together, but helped each other out, got everything going when we were in Kentucky. So you released that today, so everybody can listen to that, right?
Yes. And right now we currently have it on the Facebook page, and we'll be getting it on the YouTube page pretty soon as well.
Nice. All right, Rye, I'm going to let you go, and we will make sure we call you next week to check in if you went to Fort Knox and get the recap of OVW 1035, which you're going to tonight.
Exactly, yes. I'll plan on it.
Wrestling
a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
So, Paul, this is your favorite part of the show.
Raw and SmackDown, and it's absolutely not my favorite part of the show.
It's nobody's favorite part of the show.
You know why? And I bet we could skip through this in about 10 minutes, but you like to talk, so it's going to take a little longer than
15.
But if we
you keep
start
stuttering
off,
like that, it
right?
might be 20.
If we start off like Raw and SmackDown, then we're going to talk and not wrestle.
Right.
So we start off with Seth Rollins.
And we do.
Coming out, talking about how he's the Beast Slayer. And
Corbin comes out, Sammy comes out, KO comes out, setting up for a match at the main event.
why is Baron Corbin even in the picture?
Still. Because it's somebody that Seth can just beat on, and everybody's happy about that.
I was pretty excited, though, when KO came out, because I like seeing KO. I like KO.
You are KO. Your dad called you KO. Come on. It's on record.
Yeah, he did call me KO. He says I look like him because I got a chubby face and a beard.
That's not the only thing chubby you have, but
Oh, how did you see that way over there?
all right. Lars comes out. He gets a rematch from Saudi Arabia.
Because he got disqualified.
This was
Lucha.
This needs to be over. No, I don't like the luchas, but I despise Lars. So this whole thing
Is
means
giving
nothing
you
to me.
anxiety? Maybe you should take a break.
Yeah, I should take a break. It's been a miserable feud, and this should have ended it.
Well, here's the thing. This whole making Lars go against three guys, you did this with Strowman, and then you buried Strowman. So what are you doing it with
You
Lars
also
for?
did it with another guy called Ryback,
Yeah,
and then you buried him.
right.
So if you ever face three people in a WWE,
You're going to get buried.
right.
But, I mean, Strowman is still kind of a fan favorite.
He is. But Lars, I don't think is. I talked about this last week on the podcast that they let Lars talk 2 weeks ago. And I think that ruined a lot for him because he sounds like Mike Tyson. He's trying to think of things to say, but he sounds like me after 3 beers.
Kind of like a drunk monkey.
Right.
Right.
I'm not going to disagree with that. The 24/7 title thing is just getting ridiculous.
Oh, I love it.
You would.
It's the most entertaining thing on Raw and SmackDown. The women's, which
Why
they're
hasn't
burying
Mello
again.
pinned?
Do you think it's coming?
It's gotta be.
But
It's got, or is it just? Are they? They said anybody.
Are they going to keep that line between male and female?
I think if they need to capitalize on anything, you see it in the Indies.
Well, yeah,
The
Lucha Underground is killing
The
killed with
intergender
it.
matches, and I know I talked to Jinx and I talked to a couple others. They don't even want it to be tagged like intergender. They just want it to be called a wrestling match, and I agree with that.
Right.
I mean, 2019, it's a wrestling match. Why can't they? Why can't they? She should just pin them and run with it for a while.
It'd be great. That'd be fantastic. And then you get all the women back.
Right? Yeah.
Because everybody's in. It seems like we're right back to where we were. Everybody's in hiding.
But look who's chasing him. You have EC3 who's been dropped to nothing. You have Drake Maverick. You have No Way Jose. You don't have anybody that's
Mojo.
anybody. You don't have anybody that's anybody chasing
Bobby Roode.
You don't have anybody that's anybody chasing
Did you see
after
Chad
him.
Gable's back in 205 Live?
Yeah,
Or
he-
down in 205 Live?
He was also a general manager looking type of deal, scouting last night on SmackDown. Too.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. But nonetheless, you don't have anybody that's anybody chasing him. So
Jinder Mahal.
nobody wants this.
He was once a
He's a 2-time champ now, I believe.
two-time heavyweight champ.
Yeah. And now R-Truth has this 24/7, 7-Eleven Inter-TV
European Continental Championship.
Yeah, he's like 27. He's going to break Ric Flair's record with this title.
I hope so. That'd be great.
It has to happen.
Yes.
It's just a mockery. If they're going to swing it that way, he's going to do it probably on a golf course.
Tomorrow.
He pinned Jinder in his sleep to get it back.
Yes.
Nobody could pin anybody in the elevator
There
because
wasn't a
of the
referee.
Jinx.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. I don't know. Then we had Miz TV with Joe. This is going to be a feud that I actually am going to like. If they do it correctly. They both can talk.
Well, I was super excited about this. And then Tuesday, and I'm going to mix a match.
We both are. Catch up. This is how we're going to do Raw and SmackDown anymore.
Right, because Tuesday night, it was Miz against Elias, and then Shane. Well, no, Elias to get to Shane, but he had to go through Drew McIntyre too. And of course he was whooped, but he got his hands on Shane a little bit, and then Claymored.
Yeah.
But why not keep this Joe feud going? Like, why not have it on both shows?
They need to get rid of the brand split altogether. They need to trim their roster. We've said this for a year now, folks. Trim their roster in this wild card thing. Only the same people are switching back and forth.
Right. And it's your big names. It's Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn's not a big name, but
he's returning, so he's got a momentum heading his way now.
And then you got Drew McIntyre, and you have Roman. So you might as well just cut the brand split.
When I was in Kentucky, Paul, watching them briefly and then talking to a couple people, that Raw and SmackDown, 13 wrestlers were on both shows. The 13 same wrestlers were on both shows. That has 49 other people in the locker room eating,
yeah.
Doing nothing. They're there.
Chasing after the 24/7 champion.
Yeah. 7-Eleven. Whatever. The Dollar General Championship.
Always open.
Right? Whatever we're going to call it. So we did have a match. Braun, Miz, and Ricochet faced Bob Cesaro and Bob. I wrote Bob twice. It wasn't Bob.
Bob Cesaro and Joe.
Joe, right. The match was really sloppy at the end. This week was kind of, I critiqued it kind of as, did I really want to watch it?
Do you think that maybe some jet lag was going because they flew from Saudi Arabia back to the States and wrestled 2 days later? Like, that's gotta drain you.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's what? I thought I read that it's a 13-hour flight.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
13 hours. I hate being with you 8 half the time. So
we decided to do a podcast together so we can hang out for another 2.
Right.
That makes sense.
The beer's involved now.
Oh, well.
So that
as long as we're drinking, we're having fun.
Right. This continues the other 8 hours.
Maybe we should talk to Mark and see if we can have some beers on the back of the truck. We'd probably both be in a better mood by the end of the day.
Or something. Champions against contenders. It was Becky and Bayley against Alexa and Lacey. And it was announced as a major tag team match. Why is this a major tag team match?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I really don't.
No.
It was champs of both brands against their contenders at Stomping Ground. And this was really to give Lacey a push.
Well,
she hit so many women's rights that it wasn't funny.
She needs the push.
Do you think we're a week away from making our predictions next week? Do you think Lacey's going to take the title?
No.
I thought it was really going to be a one-off and move something along, but now she's getting
another match. Well,
yeah.
But that's the same with Corbin and Super Showdown. Like, why does Corbin get another match? And it was the same with Dolph Ziggler returning against Kofi. Why is he getting another match?
I think because, and I didn't look at them, but this is my thoughts. I don't think the buy rates, or whatever you want to call them, there's my quotes for the year, were not high for Super Showdown. So you're going to get the same matches.
You only have 2 weeks. Awful.
You only have 2 weeks to set something up. Because then after this one is SummerSlam, you'll have 18 and a half weeks to get it set up because it's going to be the end of August. So, yeah, it's just they're training for their next match is what it is. Heyman comes out. He talks about when Brock's going to cash it in and they're not going to let anybody know anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah. Do we want to brief on anything that happened at Super Showdown?
No.
Goldberg knocked himself out. Heyman tripped. Brock got his ass beat.
Got a curb stomp on the briefcase.
That looked good.
It was good.
In the still, I did. Folks, I stood my ground. I have not watched the pay-per-view, nor will I. But the still pics of him actually getting his face stomped on it, it looked good.
It looked good. Yeah, he sold it well.
The Iconics fight some locals from San Jose. The locals never made a tag, and the Iconics finally get a win with these titles. They are now the longest reigning women's champions.
Well,
Barry Sasha.
Bailey's
still good.
Bailey shows up for work.
Bailey does show up for work. Sasha, I'm still on Sasha's side. I don't care what anybody says.
Sasha's not wrong.
Sasha's not wrong.
All the other subcontracted people.
Two Beer Podcast.
This is a shitty day, Mark. Don't judge me.
We have the triple threat tag team match: Revival versus Usos versus your boys Raw, Ryder, and Hawkins.
The Major Brothers is their name,
right?
And they were the champions,
and they're
now they're not the champions.
When will we see them? They were champs, and we didn't see them for a month. Now they're not champs, so when are we going to see them?
So is the Revival going on vacation for a little bit now?
They must be.
Great.
Still trying to get the Revival. Hey, we'll make you champs. Don't go to AEW in October.
They're going to AEW in October.
They're fools if they don't.
Right?
They're fools if they don't.
They'd be better off on the indie circuit.
Circus. Dun, 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 dun. Right. And let's bring Doink back, by the way.
You can't.
No, he's dead.
Oh, that was harsh.
He is. The real Doink.
We could say he passed.
There's many Doinks.
Well, we got a little bit of a clown now.
We do, and...
Yowie wowie!
So wait, that's a good one. It's so much better than mine. It really has been. Where are we going with this? Because
I don't even care. I still love it.
Yeah, like he killed Rambling Rabbit this week.
Smashed him.
And then licked his blood.
And said it was delicious, and then that reminded him that...
They sell Rambling Rabbit jam.
Jam. Oh, it was fantastic.
That sounds delicious. Will he come back next week?
Probably.
Rambling Rabbit's going to come back. He's got killed twice now.
Oh my god, you killed Rambling Rabbit! You bastards!
Nice.
Solid South Park reference. You're welcome.
Main event was Rollins and KO, and Sammy just got all up in the business because he was a special guest referee outside the business.
Outside referee, which is never a referee. That's not a thing.
It is. It's a special enforcer.
Two Beer Podcast.
Second beer is Miller Lite. Both of our favorites. Like a generic favorite, we always go
to.
Yeah, always go to. SmackDown. Over to SmackDown. Brief. Miz starts with Miz TV. Elias, Shane, Drew. And a match happens.
Like a gauntlet match, and Miz gets to the second round of the gauntlet, and then gets pinned by the best in the world.
Right. Yeah, great. Daniel and Rowan come out. They're going to face some locals. But it's going to be a merger of titles.
The Yolo County Tag Team Champions against the WWE Planet Champion, Captain Planet Champions.
You wrestled as a kid in your backyard.
Yeah.
What were your championships? We had the North Broad Brawlers Championship.
I think we were like the House of Apocalypse or something like that.
That's such a lie. You didn't even know what Apocalypse was.
Nope. Yeah, we did.
Week.
It was Mercer. It was me and Mercer in his grandma's basement. My big move was because there was clotheslines down there. So every time I'd go to swing a bat at somebody, I'd hit the clothesline and hit myself.
So you were
in the
instantly
head.
ECW.
Oh, I was. We were hardcore. It might have been the House of Hardcore or something like that. I can't remember.
That's Tommy Dreamer's legit brand now,
right? And we would hit each other with road signs, and we go around collect garbage. Like left on the streets, like we do now, and then we'd hit each other with it.
Really, just a big circle.
Full circle.
We were more a buddy of mine, like Ben Shower. Chad got into it as well. Not Chad Miller. I got to make sure I keep reference Chad Piranha.
Yeah.
Because Chad Miller probably doesn't want me to keep saying.
Call him Chatty P.
Chatty P.
There you go.
All right. Chatty P was into it. Mama Son's real son, not Oren. Lars was into it.
Lars! Did he wear red trunks?
He's nowhere near as big as Lars Sullivan. And Ben Shower, and we were kind of like the Midnight Express, rock and roll. I would say more like the Fantastics.
So were you guys like Trampoline, or was this like...
Mike Thorwart, big shout out to him as well. No, we would take the swings off of the swing set and use that as like our turnbuckles and stuff. We would wrestle on the ground, but like the swing set became posts.
Oh.
You could swing on it to do like a drop kick from it.
Nice.
Yeah, at one time in a summer, at one time for 4 summers, I'll put it this way, I ended up in a cast for 4 straight summers in my leg.
I'm going to have to get a hold of Mercer and see if I can get some of the video from the old wrestling days, and then I'll post it on the Can Crusher page. Because we used to full-fledged take videos of ourselves.
See, we didn't have that.
Promos on the
Back in the
trampoline,
80s.
and...
Yeah, we didn't have that. And a trampoline.
I had 3 characters. One of them wore a Barry Sanders jersey.
What?
Yeah, and that was... The guy didn't even have a name.
Football. Round and
Round we go. The second one was the Reaper. He was kind of like the Undertaker, only chubbier. And then the third one was the Purple Meanie, because I loved the Blue Meanie. Everything about the Blue Meanie I loved, so I was the Purple Meanie, and it was the Purple World Order.
Purple World Order.
Yep.
PWO.
PWO.
What was Mercer?
Oh, he had like Stone Cold.
Of
and,
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And Toby DeShadka was like Mr. Perfect.
What?
Yeah. The Perfection of an Athlete was actually his wrestling name. And then there was times we'd go up to the Donahue's house on Boone Mountain. We'd wrestle with them. Joe Amaker wrapped himself in barbed wire one time, and he was like, all right, now you got to pick me up. And I'm like, Joe, if you come in with that barbed wire, I'm going to beat you up, literally. Like, this is not going to be fake.
Right.
So I said, I'll DDT you. I no sooner DDT me than he rolled over, like somersaulted, and cut my face with the barbed wire. And I didn't beat him up. I was mad, though.
We never had barbed wire. We had bats.
We had
bats.
bats.
Yeah, we did all that. We never dabbled with the barbed wire.
Mercer was fantastic at cutting himself, always too deep and almost bleeding out.
Oh, so he's a mass transit.
Oh, man, he was literally cut his thumb, and you just start working the blood, and it'd be a little cut at first, and it wouldn't bleed enough, so it'd be a bigger cut.
Oh, he cut his thumb. I thought you were telling me he was cutting his
No,
forehead.
he was cutting his thumb, so he'd bleed from there, and he'd just wipe his face, and he'd have blood all over his face, and we're like, that's awesome. He's like, I need some water.
Done. Somebody get Mercer.
Pass out. Yeah.
All right. That was better than SmackDown, by the way. That 5-minute segment. 24/7, Mandy and Sonya are going to take on Mella, and this is a push for me.
What's this beef with Ember coming up? Is there something? Or...
Yeah, because this is the third week in a row that she's gotten fitness magazines.
Yeah.
Ember's pretty fit.
Yeah.
Back the F off.
And Ember's like nerdy, and that's all nerdy fit. That's even better.
Yeah. I still love Sonya. I really want her to get a push. Nonetheless, she gets a win. Alexa and Nikki Bliss are talking.
Nikki Cross?
Nikki Bliss, because she's almost like her little sister.
So we're going to call him Nikki Bliss.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Bliss Cross.
Make
you jump.
Oh. Bliss Cross, make you jump.
New Day's back, and I'm glad Big E's back.
Wow, that was it.
Because they really haven't done anything.
Yeah, but you were just like, New Day's back. And before, it was always...
New Day!
That's better.
I want to set up. I always set you up, but you don't know where I'm going.
You're running through everything, and like, I'm just trying to follow. I'm like the fat kid out of breath behind you going, we gotta take a break. I need a minute.
Well, then we can take a break and talk about Aleister Black. What the hell are they doing with him? Wasting him.
Well, they are wasting him, but he just had a promo. His door's always open. He wants a fight. And we just had a Ricochet promo on Monday night, too, which was also good. So why are they pushing them? Why are they pushing promos now after they've already been up? I don't care.
To keep them separated.
You gotta keep them separated. Dun, dun. I do like that they're doing promos, though.
I do.
I want to see more of that.
Really?
I want promos. I don't want interviews. I don't want to come out to the ring. I want the old school promos like they did back in the day, like the barbershop.
The vignettes.
Yes.
Yeah. But I also want, all right, if we're going to talk barbershop, I want Miz TV moved.
Yeah.
I want Moment of Bliss. I want them to have some sticky set.
Right. Put them backstage.
Yeah, something like that. Get them the hell out of the ring. Make them, like you said, if they're going to do those, I can give 5 minutes of those. I don't want 45 minutes in the ring anymore.
No. There's too much talking and not enough wrestling.
2 weeks ago, 3 hours of Raw, 4 effing matches.
Right? The rest was just a bunch of hoopla.
Yeah.
And you're not setting shit up because I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah, because there's still no storylines in the whole...
I bet a ton of people turn on our podcast and say the same thing. You guys ain't setting shit up. We don't care what you have to say.
We're setting everything up. We're knocking it out of the ballpark. Smash!
I just want to hear Paul sing and Mark say this, that, and the other, or...
Nonetheless. More on that in a minute.
Yeah.
Who's drunk by now?
Right.
You are!
You are!
That's Dylan Bostic reference, by the way. So New Day!
There we go.
Fought Dolph, KO, and Sammy, and it ended with a little bit of chaos, but no funny business. And Kofi just gets a clean pin on Sammy.
Finally.
I was shocked.
Finally a clean finish.
Right. I mean, a lot happened outside the ring, but nothing that really took away from the match. But then, SmackDown, done. Nothing else. Kofi wins! See you next week! What? Which is a change.
Right.
And I'm all right with it, but I was never expecting that. Like, I thought there was still 5 minutes left. I slept a little bit during the match. I thought there was still 5 minutes left. So when I came to and I looked at the clock, I'm like, oh, damn, it's 10:01. And Miggy has just ripped the shit out of the couch.
See, that's how entertaining Raw and SmackDown are. We were just watching the dog do stuff.
That was it. So that's Raw and SmackDown. Coming up is...
First we go to class, and then we go to garbage tip.
We still remember the blood oozing out of Rowdy Roddy Piper's left ear as Greg the Hammer Valentine used his chain-wrapped fist to beat on his adversary's head and face. We can still see the hot rod struggling and ultimately gaining his equilibrium as he touched the wound on his ear and realized the loss of vital fluid dripping onto his jaw. His temper increasing until he finally relinquished a primal scream, his eyes bulging, his fingers locked in claw-hold positions, his chest red with rage boiling beneath the surface. We've heard the story of Roddy losing partial hearing in his left ear. "Don't fool around," Piper said with the orders given to him and Valentine. "We want it so brutal they'll keep coming back." And they did keep coming back. Piper did not lose his hearing due to that one match, but rather due to the series of dog collar matches between the two. Yes, there was a series of dog collar matches between Rowdy Roddy Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Like any two consummate professionals working towards a Super Show payoff, these two men took their show on the road and perfected it in time for Starrcade. Imagine the two-a-day Saturdays and Sundays. Several months after their classic Starrcade match, both men found themselves again face-to-face, this time in the WWF. Greg the Hammer Valentine and his manager, Captain Lou Albano, were guests on Piper's Pit. Piper introduced the greatest manager in wrestling. Then he looked at Valentine and he continued, and another fella. Albano found himself in the middle of this tug of war between his loyalty to his best friend, Roddy Piper, and his commitments to his latest protege, Greg the Hammer Valentine, who is now the new Intercontinental Champion. Albano offered a truce. "Why don't we get together and bury the hatchet here? Why don't you two fellas forget the past?" Valentine stood with his hands on his hips. Piper, always ready for a fight, puffed out his chest. Valentine's stone face cracked into a small grin. Piper moved the microphone from his right hand to his left hand so he could extend the proper hand as a peace offering. The two former rivals shook hands and pulled one another in for a big bro hug. There's a massive branding campaign happening in the WWF, and it was a rare instance for Vince Jr.'s federation to acknowledge another organization. But the vicious feud between Piper and Valentine transcended rival promotions. Then record-setting NWA World Champion Harley Race was not even acknowledged as having a past, beyond the recognition that he was a very good wrestler. Another NWA World Champion considered by his peers as one of the best champions ever, Dory Funk Jr. didn't even get to keep his own name. In addition, he was given a fictional younger brother as a partner. It would be another 7 years before Ric Flair showed up on WWF television with the WCW World Championship belt. It's one thing not to give your competition airtime. Eric Bischoff made the mistake of giving away the results of Monday Night Raw's recorded matches on Monday Nitro in the hopes that his viewers wouldn't bother changing the channel. Instead, what happened was viewers wanted to see Shawn Michaels superkick Sid, or Mankind finally take the belt off of The Rock. But it's something else to not even acknowledge your own storylines. WWE has made a terrible habit of not just abandoning a story, but acting as though it never happened. As much as the fans' blue eyes love his act, it made sense to give him a shot as a good guy. Even though Elias is better as a bad guy, I think he could have worked as a babyface, but they never gave the story a chance. Paul Orndorff was a better bad guy than a good guy, but they gave him a run as a babyface and brought it to a conclusion when he clotheslined Hulk Hogan and stunned the crowd. With no betrayal of which to speak, Elias is just a bad guy again. Does anyone remember Jason Jordan? I understand he is still injured and will continue to miss time. Although there is somewhat of a resemblance in their faces and their builds, the story that Kurt Angle is Jason Jordan's father remains one of the dumbest angles ever. You'd think the WWE learned their lesson with Vince and Hornswoggle. But the Angle-Jordan father-son story needed a conclusion. Without one, the WWE treated its stars like comic book characters. Wonder Girl is Wonder Woman's sister. When Wonder Girl got married, Wonder Woman was the maid of honor. A new writer got a hold of Wonder Woman and rebooted and reintroduced her character. How could her history change, but the history of her little sister remain the same? This sort of thing aggravates comic book readers, even though we know the characters aren't real. Professional wrestling has always been in a difficult state of limbo. Comic books, movies, and other forms of arts and entertainment can take greater liberties with banishing a character or story into non-existence, even though it may displease their fans. Because we tune in to watch fights, wrestling characters are, to a certain extent, real people, even if they periodically are repackaged. We fans knew the truth about Goldust before he revealed himself to be Dustin Rhodes, and because of that, when Goldust beat Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship, he joined that elite group of wrestlers who had won both major promotions' secondary titles, the WCW NWA United States Championship as Dustin Rhodes, and the WWF Intercontinental title as Goldust. In one of the most intriguing storylines of the last decade, WWE writers incorporated the real-life illness of Roman Reigns into a work. After Reigns concluded his speech about needing time away from the ring, he made his way up the ramp and joined his Shield brothers. As their three-fifths met in the middle, Seth Rollins' face contorted in grief. Dean Ambrose, however, looked stoic and determined. Perhaps this was an allusion to what would happen later in the night. Rollins and Ambrose winning the Raw Tag Team Championship that night was the perfect emotional release the fans needed. Then Rollins, without explanation or build-up, turned on his new Tag Team Championship partner. There were raw, palpable feelings in the crowd. Then, just as suddenly, the story went away. Sure, Ambrose mocked Rollins for a few weeks and burned his Shield vest, but as WWE is so wont to do these days, the story never moved forward. I could understand Ambrose being coy, not revealing his true intentions at first, but at some point, we fans deserved an answer. How about the obvious answer that Rollins did the same thing to him a few years earlier? How about expanding on the fact that he felt like the other guys made fun of him and that he was the brunt of all the jokes? And instead of alluding to Reigns, why not mention his name? Wouldn't challenging and mocking a man battling a disease who can't defend himself have been a brilliant heel move? The WWE had a chance to do something memorable and instead did nothing at all. Without reason, Ambrose was back and he and Rollins were friends again. I understand Ambrose was leaving the WWE, but he didn't need to leave as a good guy. Why not have his send-off in a match against Rollins, in which Rollins finally gets his revenge? Today's WWE lacks focus and longevity. The writers don't write anything with staying power, and the athletes do little to keep their pasts relevant. Roddy Piper was a fierce protector of the business. To this day, many of us fans don't know what was real or fiction with Roddy. He never wanted to ruin the show for anyone, so until the end, he refused to tell us too many secrets and insisted the coconut was not pre-cracked. The question also remained whether Piper truly lost his hearing in those bloodbaths against Greg Valentine. We may never know for sure. What we do know is that in many future interviews, Hot Rod always leaned his right ear towards Mean Gene or Vince McMahon or whomever was holding the stick because that was his good ear. In today's English Tip of the Week, let's talk about the differences between an allusion, A-L-L-U-S-I-O-N, and illusion, I-L-L-U-S-I-O-N, and an illusion, E-L-L-U-S-I-O-N. An illusion with an A is a reference, direct or implied, to something or someone. An illusion, with an I, on the other hand, is something that deceives the mind or senses by creating a false impression of reality. Illusions are often related to visual perception, as in an optical illusion. Least commonly used is illusion, an act of running or hiding or evading. It is more commonly used as a verb, as in elude, E-L-U-D-E. Let's take a look at some examples of each. Earlier I mentioned Dean Ambrose looking stoic and determined during Roman Reigns' speech, and I said it could have been A, an allusion with an A, B, an illusion with an I, or C, an illusion with an E, to his heel turn later that night. The answer is A, allusion with an A. Dean Ambrose's look could have been a warning of what was to come. We all saw multiple doinks. Nevertheless, when 2 doinks beat up Crush at WrestleMania 9, and when 3 doinks tried to intimidate Macho Man on Monday Night Raw, doink insisted there was only one of him, and every other doink was simply an A, illusion with an A, B, illusion with an I, or C, illusion with an E. The answer is B, an illusion with an I. Doink was telling us that we were just seeing things. When Jimmy Hart crawled across the timekeeper's table to get away from Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's main event, was that an act of A, illusion with an A, B, illusion with an I, or C, illusion with an E? The answer is C, illusion, derived from the verb elude. Jimmy Hart successfully ran away and hid from Hulk Hogan. Speaking of the Hulkster, earlier I mentioned his betrayal at the hands of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. When they were in the locker room before their tag team match against Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy, Hogan tried desperately to explain why he was unavailable to answer the phone. You know what it's like when I'm hanging and banging, brother. But Orndorff wasn't accepting the explanation. Later that evening, Orndorff turned on Hogan. Was Orndorff's attitude and body language an A, illusion with an A, B, illusion with an I, or C, illusion with an E? The answer is A, illusion. Orndorff foreshadowed his heel turn. And with that, class,
you're dismissed.
Garbage tip of the week
Not
after
yet.
our stick mark. Can I
Not yet.
finish? Holy shnikes. What has gotten into you?
Little goat.
You can listen to us on Alexa, Boxcast, Overcast, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcast, iTunes, Bullhorn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and we are on the WrestlePost app.
WrestlePost app, it tells you where wrestling is. It gives you links to everybody's web pages, Facebook pages. So if you're
Does it give a link to our webpage?
it does.
What is our webpage, Mark?
HTT.
You're not doing it right. https:// or cancrusher69.wixsite.com/cancrushers.
Oh. But if you're around, like Arkansas, and you want to go to a wrestling event, you can open up this app, type in Arkansas, boom, it'll show you what's going on, and they have a list of events. So
I don't
it's
think
really
we can
cool.
do 2 beer podcasts anymore.
Right?
You are lit.
Thank God I got nothing to do but edit tonight.
Facebook and Instagram, cancrusher69.
Yeah. I tweet every once in a while yet.
He doesn't. He's lying. He's lying.
Right.
Dude's lying to you. You're killing it on Facebook, though. It's like every 10 minutes my phone's
good.
singing with a stupid reminder that you got something going on.
They got a lot of stuff going on.
Really? I don't do anything with this podcast except for talk and make fun of Mark.
And drink beer.
And drink beer. Like that's...
By the way, clarify the beer. Paul is now caught up on payments.
Yeah, wow.
That's why we have a 2-beer podcast.
Two-beer
because
podcast.
He owed 2 beers. So now Mark can go back to buying next week and celebrate. But hey, it's been a year, so we got a lot of beers in us.
How about our sponsor?
All right, go ahead.
Call...
You do your first one.
You wrote it wrong. Everything is in order when we do this thing, and then you just wrote it down on
It's
this
not in order. You already just said these.
tattered crap a piece of paper, and I'm pissed about it. Pro Printing in Office.
We'll do something for the podcast.
814-834-3006. Call Dave All for all your printing needs. T-shirts, books, hats.
Books!
Invitations.
He's gonna write a book for you now.
Right.
Collar and elbow, hats, hoodies, shirts, sweats, all the cool stuff that a wrestling fan needs when you go to events. Rep out Collar and Elbow. And when you check out...
Wait. Little secret. When you check out, type in OVW. You get 10% off your whole order.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't
Don't
tell anybody we told you. Don't tell anybody that you know about it.
But use it.
Just use it.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Paul is finally
I'm back with the garbage tip right after I hear this lovely song.
garbage, 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 garbage.
Garbage tip of the week comes because people are idiots,
Assholes.
as always.
Yeah, guys, you've really shit the bed recently.
We dumped a container today, and somebody put a mattress box.
what?
A mattress.
A matrix?
A matrix. Somebody controlling the matrix. There was a glitch in the system, and they put a mattress box spring in the thing towards the back, standing straight up and down. So you can't dump the container.
In the thing is
In
called
the
a
container.
dumpster.
In the dumpster, straight up and down, and you can't dump the container. So don't be idiots. If you see the slanty part, which is the front, where the dumpster goes up to dump, don't stack things in the back.
There'll be schematics on this
slide.
later on, so Paul can show you what a dumpster looks like.
Yeah, with my middle finger.
Right. I completely agree, but it doesn't work. It works for mattresses, big pieces of wood.
Yeah, lumber. Don't set lumber in there sideways or crooked or anything like that. Have it so it slides right out, so it's easier on their garbage men.
Right.
It's easier on you too, because the more you stack stuff in there nicely, the more you fit in it, the more bang for your buck.
Oh, banging bucks.
Buck banging.
Wow.
That's about all I got for the garbage tip, though. That was
Yeah.
One thing kind of upset me today.
That was at 5:15 this morning.
Yeah.
Literally at 5:15 this morning. I know the garbage tip for the week.
My morning was a train wreck. My whole day was a train wreck until I won Del Grosso tickets from the Hound.
Right?
And
How about
then
that?
We got some beers, and then we did the podcast, and I'm kind of feeling better. And there's some shows coming up.
There's lots of shows. Guys, first of all, as you heard in the Can Crusher
Paul
Spotlight,
never segues me. There you go. There's your segue, bro.
30 years. As we go into this week, you heard last Friday that Super Indy is coming up on this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah, from Elizabeth Court Time Sports, we will cover that matches. The first round is already set up, so let me give you the first round matches.
Because as soon as he looks for it.
I have it. All right, the first match of the night is going to be Jackson Argos against Wardlow.
Woo!
Second match is going to be Dylan Bostic against Britt Baker. First woman ever in a Super Indy event.
That's phenomenal.
Anthony Green against Joey Ryan. Anthony Green's been there before. Joey Ryan is that Joey Ryan, so we're probably going to see that move.
The penis twist.
Yeah. And then this was a final a few years ago, and it was so technical, it went the time limit. It's Jonathan Gresham against Josh Alexander. Alexander never really lost the title. He had to forfeit it because his visa ran out. And he's from Canada. So he couldn't make it back to the States. So he had to send the belt back. And that's where it came from. There's tag team matches as well in between.
So you're going to see Britt Baker take
win
on...
the Super... I already told...
Britt Baker's my vote.
I already told Plummer, if Britt doesn't win, we're going to riot.
I mean, she can't beat Katie Arquette because she's not as good as Katie Arquette, but she can win the Super Indy. But you could possibly see Wardlow versus Britt Baker
in second round.
In the second round,
right?
That's big.
That's huge. Yeah,
that's a big match. That's pay-per-view style match right
it's
there.
Pay-per-view style, and you can order that by going to iwcwrestling.com.
There you go. See, segues all the day, all the live long day.
All the day. Also on the card, another big match. You're going to have Andrew Palace, Chris LaRusso, and Christopher Daniels in a three-way match. Christopher Daniels, another AEW star on the card. Daniels was in the first Super Indy, so he's just getting linked to it. He couldn't be in the tournament obligations. So this could be his last ever Indy.
Indy.
Well, it's going to be his last Super Indy, but
wait, Christopher Daniels wasn't he in Impact for a little bit?
He was, yeah. Him and Frankie Kazarian. That stuttered real bad.
Holy moly!
But I'm just saying, there's a lot of AEW presence on this card. What else could happen, guys? Again, if you can't be at Court Time Sports,
there is a big announcement coming at Super Indy, isn't there?
There's a huge Plumber. If you listen to, I don't want to keep giving away everything he said, but if you listen to the podcast for the next 18 months,
which they've also listened to the podcast because Plumber was our spotlight, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So they should already know that IWC has a giant announcement coming.
In the next 18 months, Plumber is going all in. He's doing double or nothing. Otherwise, he might be all out. But the biggest signee to IWC, the biggest person he's ever going to be brought in, will be announced at Super Indy. And the event's going to be at High Stakes later on in the summer. It's September, actually, in the casino in West Virginia. So I'm excited. I can't imagine who it's going to be.
We know a lot of stuff, but this is one thing.
This is one Plumber would not say anything.
The man's got it lip sealed, and that's probably a good idea because we would
have told you right now.
In the long run, we are journalists, so we are snakes.
Drunk journalists.
Right?
Then, next week, all right? Big weekends, guys. Big weekends. Next weekend.
It's my birthday!
It is his birthday. So,
Mark's like, that wasn't what I was going to say, but
we can say it is his birthday. It is Imagine Pro Wrestling Volume 3 in Altoona. It is the time that they're going to crown their first ever heavyweight champion. Thus far, in it is Chris LaRusso. He won his way in last event. Brian Pillman Jr. is going to be there in it. And then 2 more announcements need to come. If you listen to the podcast about Imagine, Cato kind of leaked one, but we're not going to jump on it yet. Go back and listen to it or contact Cato. So that's going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a Camp Crusher presence there. I personally can't go. We have some prior obligations with the church that we've always done. So we cannot go. English professor's looking into maybe Noodle might be able to roll out with him. We'll see. Paul will be drunk, so it's definitely not going to be Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to be drunk.
And then on the 29th, making their way from Louisville, Kentucky
OV-Dub
to Knox, Pennsylvania. OVW will be in the house.
Having a show for his buddy.
Yeah, buddy that passed, so there's a benefit one. More will be coming. Literally more will be coming this way because we have to do a lot of marketing for it around this area. We have to do some foot stomping and work with some radio stations. And all that's going to be coming, so you guys will know more as soon as I get the packet of information. But
Mark is like the driver of the bus on the information superhighway.
But Chad has guaranteed this is going to tear the MFing house down.
Socks off.
Yeah. And
if you're a wrestling fan, you need to clear your date for the 29th.
It's a benefit show, first of all.
Unless you're playing an all-star football game.
And that asshole is. And tell me how bad you feel about that.
I actually feel really bad because I really wanted to meet Chad Miller, not Chad Piranha.
You've met him before.
I've met him before. I really wanted to meet Chad Miller. I really wanted to talk to everybody from OVW. You've gotten a lot of that. I haven't yet because of football, but like I said, now that football's over, we are on to new chapters of our lives. So there's more time for stuff. And am I going to miss football? Absolutely.
Yeah, but you can be around it again next year. You can coach. You can help the kids. Yeah, you are still coaching.
I'm still coaching high school football.
So there's lots going on. There really is, guys. Like we said, we're kind of turning a little bit page. We're going to be real quick on Raw and SmackDown. We're going to get MLW in. We're going to do some ROH. It's just Now it's just finding time to engulf ourselves. You know, I can't watch Cooking with the Kids anymore, or, you know, the ID channel and all
No,
the
you
dead...
still need to do that because you got to make time for Mrs. Can Crusher and
Yeah, I know. I just got to look.
Can Crusher Dog.
Right. Oh, well, Can Crusher Dog is we're building shit left and right on the old
Computer box. Wizard box.
The nerd box.
Nerd box.
So this was a great one, Paul. I'm going to step back now. I didn't get to say this last week. Last Thursday was our 1 year anniversary, and number one guy right beside me, I love you. I love you. This has been a hell of a ride. It's nowhere near over. This started on the back of a garbage truck. So I love you. Ride until I die. Whatever.
And on the back of the garbage truck, it could be soon.
Yeah. Shout out to the English professor who's got his own shtick now, which just adds to the show.
Perfect.
He's such an asshole.
Perfect match.
Others that have just stepped up and have done, you know, major... contributed a lot. You know, Chad coming in with MLW. You have Noodle that's covering shows with me. You have Soup is legit went to shows by himself when we had weddings and such.
Yeah.
And he's brought back information to us. And then working with all the promoters.
You got Swan Dog.
Swan Dog resides.
The Professor of Belts. We got a couple more. We got a guy that is super into New Japan. He wants to come and talk to us.
Oh, big news. New Japan and Women of Wrestling are switching to Saturday nights now on Access as well. That's going to get more eyes on them. That actually opens up more time for me to watch them. So I'm more excited about that. All that changes at the end of July. So WOW will be covered on here because it's a weekly show. You have Raylan in it. You have Tessa in it. It's great. It really is. If you haven't watched it, they're on demand. They're on anywhere. I mean, go back and watch the first season. As it ended, Tessa was champion. It's a seasonal show, which I like. Leave this at this. This is what we're going to talk about next week. And I want to kind of preference this from here on out. Should wrestling have, or should stars have off seasons? Guys, this is where we're going to go from here. Don't answer now. This is for next week.
Yeah.
Should wrestling have an off season? Should stars have an off season and push and, you know, just keep filling? Because the same off season Miz has, Rollins can run the show. Rollins takes a break, and I'm just using these ones. Rollins takes a break. Miz can come back and step in. You can continue to give them months off. Right. It's about health.
Right.
It's about storylines. So
like
you know
said,
my answer already.
We're not talking about that now, but we will.
Yeah. So that's kind of the stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to shoot some questions, answer more questions, do whatever. So, yeah.
So email us.
CanCrusher69@gmail.com.
Or Facebook pages.
At CanCrusher69.
Don't Instagram.
That's just pictures.
Us.
Yeah.
That's just for our pictures.
Our smiling faces.
Right. I mean, you could Instagram message us if that's all you have. Because some people don't have face space.
No, but they should. They should. So, guys, again, thanks for 1 year in the books. It went faster than I thought.
Really fast.
And my wife will continue to say she thought we were playing. And now...
She thought this was all just a joke. And then she's like, as we have sat down and we're like, how the hell did we get here so fast? How the hell is this working out?
Legit, we have a banner at Davis Arena.
But we're going to keep holding on, and we're going to keep riding this ride. And hopefully the ups and downs...
Not hold on loosely.
And hopefully the ups and downs are just as fun for us as they are for you.
And we're going to keep drinking beer.
Remember, just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Super Indie Saturday and Can Crusher Spotlight
Friday night.
Oh, if you're going to Pittsburgh on Thursday, Wrestle Rex as well.
Wrestle Rex as well, Thursday, Pittsburgh. Listen.